Right then, here it is in the wee hours of the morning on Sensational Saturday. Haven't made a video in a while. Not a heck of a lot going on. Well, there's drama in Rob's world, but we'll get into that in a bit. But yesterday being Friday, it was a work day. Epic day finally for once. Seems like they pound me on Fridays. But yesterday was awesome. First call was down in South Central to hang a door on a Bosch refrigerator. So I went into the shop yesterday morning. I had to hang two doors. That was what was on my calls, and plus two diagnostics. So I walk into my shop, and there's two doors leaning up against my counter, and I grabbed the two doors and I loaded them in the van, and away I went. I didn't even look at the part numbers. That's how good the system is that I have in my shop in the Northwoods. When I was working out of the Wassa shop with DTR, he is such a pack rat. He would hang on to parts. He would hang on to doors, he'd hang on to parts, and the shop would just fill up like his garage, floor to ceiling with junk. And, oh, maybe we could use that later, or, oh, yeah, that call might happen 6 months from now, so we'll hang on to it. And it's just a nightmare trying to find stuff in the mornings. Not my shop. If I didn't use it, the call got canceled or rescheduled, I get it out of my shop. I send it back down to the headquarters. They can store it. They can find it. They can resend it to me on the day that the rescheduled call ends up showing up. I'm not hanging on to it. So, for organization purposes, it just makes it easy. I walk into my shop. There's a small handful of parts sitting on my desk that just came in on the transfer semi. I know those are the parts for the week or half of the week or whatever. I can find what I need, and it won't be anywhere else. I got Ian Squatch, I got him trained to send the stuff or to put the stuff in a certain spot. It's a beautiful thing. Working with a pack rat is misery. His van is just a mound of stuff in the van, almost up to the ceiling. Yep. Sit in the cab, there's no room to sit. If you had to ride with him, he's got to spend 15 minutes cleaning out the seat. It's horrible. Anyway, so I grabbed the two doors. It's the only two doors there. Oh, I need them. Boom. Didn't even look at the part numbers. I drive all the way down to South Central. I pull in the yard. I go into the guy's house. Oh, you got a ding in the door. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me go out, pre-inspect the door before I bring it in case it's damaged. I don't have the door taken off the fridge, waiting for the new door to be installed. And then I discover the new door is damaged and I got to put the old door back on. You know what I mean? I've learned. Work smart, not hard. So I got to the van, I grab a box. I still didn't look at the part number. I grab a box that looked like it was the size of the door that he had on his unit. Open it up. It's not the door. Something totally different. I'm like, what the hell? I grab the other box, which is way bigger than the door he has on his fridge, thinking, oh, maybe there's a lot of packing material in there. I open that one up. No. It's for a totally different brand. I'm like, I was like, what? Did I miss a door? Is there a door sitting in the shop that I didn't see? Something along those lines. So I panic and I call my store, or I try to get through to my store, send somebody from the office back into my shop to look for this part number. That now I looked at the part number and couldn't get a hold of anybody in the store. I don't have a phone number that goes right to the front desk at the store. It doesn't exist. You have to call a central number, a tree they call it, and work your way through the prompts to, it's like an 8-step process to eventually get to the front desk of the Northwoods location store. And even then, it's not a guarantee you're going to reach that. It's ridiculous. Well, in the meantime, I give Billy a call. I said, hey, I'm at this call. I don't know if I'm the one that screwed up or it's somebody else. But there was 2 doors in my shop this morning. My shop is squeaky clean. I grabbed the 2 doors. It didn't look at part numbers, blah, blah. I told her the story. And she interrupts me and she said, the door isn't even here yet. What? I said, why is it on the schedule? Well, so-and-so scheduled it about 2 months ago. And then so-and-so, who's in charge of inventory, reordered the door because the door came in damaged. And the time for the call came to be, but the new door hasn't come in yet. And the call was never taken off the road. So it wasn't my fault. But I drove all the way down to South Central on a journey to nowhere. But here's where it turned into my favor. Lisa and Jerry, the park owners, where my trailer is, they own a lot of rental properties. And I've kind of sort of become their appliance repair guy. So if these rental properties have appliances, I'm the guy that gets to fix it for some pocket cash under the table. They buy the parts. I told them, I said, I'm not getting parts for you. So they get the parts from a parts supplier after I diagnose the problem and tell them what to get. And then I go out and install the parts. So there's a dog grooming place a block and a half away, pretty close to where this first call was. The part, I had gone there last weekend on my way down to the trailer, diagnosed the wash machine, figured out it needed a new brain box. Lisa had gone to the parts supplier, picked up the brain box, and she said, I have the brain box, and I'm going to stop by the grooming salon and I'll leave it there and you can come and do the repair. I said, I'm a block and a half away. This is perfect timing. So I went there. Sure enough, the part's sitting on the shelf. I installed the part and I left. Took all of about 15 minutes. Bada bing, bada boom. The part needed a core, meaning the old part has to be returned and you get some money back when you return the core. So Lisa was still in the area. She was able to go back to the location and pick up the old board so she could get her $60 back. Oh, it was a beautiful thing. Then when I'm rolling out of that call, Billy messages me and says, RTV, that stands for return to vendor, that other door that you have, the customer decided they don't want the door swapped on the fridge. They'll live with the ding. I'm like, yes, I get out of hanging that door. This is sweet. So that leaves 2 diagnostic calls left and not a lot of miles to deal with them. So I went and did those. One of them turned into a bit of a shit show. I actually had to take the unit apart and do some voltage testing and diagnostic. But I fixed it. It was a loose wire connection on a sensor. And I fixed that one. That was a first time complete. The other one, I don't even remember what the call was. Yeah. Anyway, make a long story short, I was done by 1 o'clock. 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I'm flying back to the shop. Punch out, and I got home around 2. heat on a Friday. Beautiful day, 60 degrees. So what does Kenny do? He grabs that new fish finder that Scrunchy got him for his birthday, early birthday present, and I installed it on the pontoon boat. That worked out sweet. Since it's the same brand of the one that I had on there before, the power wire that feeds the 12 volts to the unit, I could use the same cable. I didn't have to run a new cable. And that was all zip tied and secured and ran along the rails on the boat, already hooked up to the battery. All I did was just take the plug, plugged it into the back of the new power head on the new fish finder, whip, powered up. I hung the transducer off the side of the boat instead of off of the front or the back like you're supposed to. That means I'll never be able to put the boat back on the flatbed trailer because the fenders on the trailer just are slightly wider than the boat. It just slides right in there nice. So I won't be able to do that again. But that pontoon boat's, I'm not going to take that boat and go to another lake. Scrunch and I plan on buying another boat so that we can explore other lakes. And this one's just going to stay in the lake all the time. It's for here. So I had the fish finder on in 20 minutes installed, and I even was able to use the old mount where the power head mounts on. It's identical. Humminbird brand. It was all the same shit. I'm like, this is sweet. So I actually went out into the lake and tried it out. And I found the fish crib that I sunk. The old skipper. Yeah. It is nowhere near where I want it to be. What must have happened is when that thing sunk, when it finally filled up with water, and you saw in the video and it went down, it must have glided because it had the way it was shaped, with the wings that came out the side. It must have been like a glider, and it must have glided as it was going to the bottom. Because now it's sitting pretty much right next to shore, kind of in 7 feet of water, in my swimming beach area. So if and when I ever build a swimming beach and people are out there swimming, they're going to literally swim into this thing. Yeah, that ain't good. I don't want that. That's creepy. You're swimming around in the lake, you're floating around, and all of a sudden something slimy's all up in your legs and shit. No. So it showed up very definite. You can see the hump where the Christmas tree was. So it is sitting on the bottom flat like it should. But I think as it went down, it did one of these numbers. Yep. And now it's sitting in front of the swimming beach. So today's mission, one of them, is to go out there. I dropped a marker buoy on it. I know where it is. To go out there, I'm going to take one of my claw anchors that I have on the boat, and I'm going to try to drop it down into the tub and snag the thing, and then use the big motor and drag it on the bottom over to where I want it to sit permanently. Yep. And then let it go down and try to get my anchor out of the boat. And then the other 2 trees, the ficus trees, I bought a bag of concrete. I'm going to go down to the cat farmer's barn down there where she's a pack rat too, where she brings home pickle pails from work. Pickles come in these 3 and 5 gallon pails. And I'm going to grab a couple of those and stick those trees in the pails, fill them up with concrete, quick setting concrete, let that set up, and then I'll take those out and try to drop them either in the tub, if I can be that good, or right next to the tub. I'll lower them down so that they're sitting on the bottom straight up. I don't want them to tip over or fall over. I want them straight up like trees. And it will literally be the only structure in the area. I was zigzagging back and forth parallel to my shoreline last night with that new fish finder, and the bottom is just flat. No weeds, no nothing. And it drops off like 10, 12, 15 feet of water. There's no structure anywhere around. So it's pretty cool. I marked a lot of fish, crappies, not around the structure because the structure is too shallow. It's sitting in 7 feet of water. I'm surprised the top of the Christmas tree is not sticking up out of the water right now, actually. It's got to be just right below the surface. So I'm going to drag that out into about 12 feet of water, maybe deeper. I wanted to have it within casting range of the dock for scrunchy. But the water off my dock is not very deep. Within casting range, as far as she can cast, it's only about 8 feet deep. So I'm going to drag this thing out in about 12, 13 feet of water and let it go down. And that way, in the wintertime, the crappies will suspend around it. And it'll be a beautiful thing. And I can put all my tip downs in a circle around it. Yep. So that's the plan for today. Also, I am going to start laying out the shop. Figure out where I want outlets and receptacles and light fixtures and shit, so I can start running some wires and buying some materials and stuff. And I'm gonna take a look at my future RC racetrack that's going out here in the front yard. I'm gonna start laying that out, planning that out. I'll tell you what, this particular situation right out here, Lakeside Raceway, as I call it now, is perfect. It's a nice big area. I'm not going to run 10th scale trucks on this because they're too big. So I've been watching some backyard racetrack racing on YouTube here, and the guys with the 10th scale trucks, I don't have one down here, and I'm not going to run up and get one. But they're this big, they're that long, by that wide, by that high. That's a big truck. 12 scale is like this, about that wide, by about that high. Much more scale realistic to the terrain, and it will make a small racetrack big. Smaller the truck, the more you got to drive, the distance you got to go. It's going to be way cool. Not only that, this area right here is so conducive to a track because I have a balcony up here for the driver's stand. With these RC tracks, if you stand on the ground, your plane of sight is straight out. And if your track has any depth to it, you have a hard time judging distance for corners, and your depth perception's all screwed up. It's very difficult, and it's not much fun. You need to be elevated looking down at the track. That's where it's at. I got an already built-in driver stand platform on this second level balcony. This is perfect. Couldn't get any better. The only thing I gotta build is a little set of steps that go off of this end over here where I have a hillside that comes up and comes pretty close to where the balcony, like the hill is down here and the balcony's like right here. I just gotta build a set of steps that go from the hill to the end of this balcony, take out the railing, and you can walk up this hill and up onto the deck and for a driver's stand. Perfect. The bad part, this sucks. Who knew that RC car racing would be a great form of exercise? Yep. The bad part is when you crash or you roll over the car down on the track, you literally got to walk off the driver's stand, down the steps, down the hill, out to your car, flip it back over, and walk all the way back up to the driver's stand to keep driving. That sucks. That's why in the world of RC truck and car racing, there's something called track marshals. So the people that raced in the race before you, after they're done with their race, they are required to go out and marshal. So they stand at various points on the racetrack, and if a car flips over, they run out onto the track, flip the car back on its wheels so that you can keep continuing your race and hopefully not lose your place in line. Without track marshals, RC car racing is not fun. Been there, done it. It sucks. So, that's going to suck. Unless I can line up enough people that are interested in this thing. All of my RC buddies from back in the day, they're gone. I totally got out of that hobby, and as a result, I've lost contact with all the guys I used to race with. Yeah. Most of them were located in South Central area. That's where a lot of the racing took place, was South Central, and then out east by Green Bay. So as a result, I don't know anybody. So I gotta get some new friends. Otherwise, this is gonna be misery. Now, Brad up the road here, he's usually here every weekend if he doesn't have to work. He's here right now, as a matter of fact, sleeping down in his hammock down by the lake because it's 50 degrees out. I'm pretty sure he would jump into this hobby. Get into it for a couple $100. You know, $300-400. You can get a truck with a radio transmitter, batteries, a charger, and as long as you don't break and got to start buying parts, you're racing. You know, I'm sure he'd get into it. And of course, there's Rob. If Rob manages to fix things with Kate, Kate would do it too. She likes it. She's interested. Scrunch wants to do it. There's me, possibly my buddy from work, Squatch, and maybe others from work once word gets out. I could grow it. I could put up a posting or a flyer or something somewhere. There's no hobby shops up here. The nearest one used to be in the next town to the south of me, but I drove by there yesterday and that was out of business. So there's no hobby shops around. So, yeah. So it's going to be hard to get people that, all the people in my church are geezers. They're not going to jump into this hobby. So I don't know if I can grow it. But, you know me, I'm a visionary, so I got visions in my head on how Lakeside Raceway is going to look. It is going to be so cool. It's going to be challenging. Going to have race banners around the track. There's going to be overhead lighting. I got all these trees. I can run wires to the trees and put overhead lighting to light up the track so we can do night racing. We can do winter races. Yep. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited to get back into it, you know. But so yeah, today I'm gonna try to visualize how I want the track to be laid out. I bought that scarifier tool, dethatching machine for lawns. That's going to be the perfect machine to groom the track and to actually lay in the track, because it's like a mini rototiller scarifier, but not a rototiller that just digs in real deep and digs up chunks of dirt. This thing just works on the surface level and roughs up and powderizes the surface. It's perfect for cutting in driving lanes for an RC track. Yep. So I have the tool I need to do this. Yeah. The only thing I don't have is the border material. What people usually use on an RC track is irrigation pipe, round diameter plastic pipe, flexible. It comes in a great big roll, and that's what you run around the edges of your lanes to make your driving lanes, and you drive between the two pieces of pipe that are laying on the ground, and that's how you trace out your track. Yeah. Wow. I don't know, man. This could turn into something, and I'm usually the type of person that likes to jump into shit with both feet and make it a big grand event. I had a track out at my father-in-law's when I was married, because he lived out in the country. I built a grass track, and that was so cool. We stood up on the septic mound on the top, and I built a driver stand out of wood. It was covered, and then I took the garden tractor, the lawnmower tractor, and I scalped the grass down like a putting green and made the lanes. And then on the edges of the driving lanes, I brought the mower deck up a little bit higher like this to make a fringe around it. And then the infield and the outfield areas, I left the grass grow about that tall. It looked so cool. It looked like a golf course, but it was a snaking racetrack. I built jumps out of plywood, and we would set them out on the lanes, and so you could jump the trucks and the buggies. And my father-in-law, he jumped into that with both feet. By then, he was getting around. It was hard for him to get around. He was in his late 70s, so he had a motorized wheelchair. So I made a trail for him to drive the motorized wheelchair up onto the septic mound so he could watch us race. I had all my race banners along the back fence line, and then we put up a couple of poles with some floodlights so we could do it at night. I had grand aspirations for that place to become an actual circuit raceway for the hobby shop that's down in Plover, Wisconsin, that I was part of, the racing club I was part of, as a destination for a circuit of racing venues. Yeah, I had grand aspirations. And then the brother-in-law, his miscreant, bastardized kids, they were out there with their BMX bikes, running off the jumps and tearing up the track and shit, and a bunch of friction happened, and he ended up owning the house, and he said, nah, you can't have, he was an asshole, you can't have the track anymore. If you're not going to let my kids play around with their bikes and their mini bikes on your track, fuck you, you can't have the track. Oh man, I spent hours, full weekends out there with a mower. Oh, I was pissed. Now I got my own place where I call the shots. So, Lakeside Raceway. Kenny N's Lakeside Raceway. This is going to be cool. This is going to be cool. So I'm super jacked. But of course I got bigger fish to fry, right? I still got to sell a trailer. I still got to sell a camp. I still got to build a shop. Oh, I also forgot. I also have the perfect pit area. Every racetrack has something called the pits, and that's where you work on your cars. So in the RC world, it's an area where there's tables set up, whether it's picnic tables or folding tables, and all the racers come, and there's power. There's electrical power at each table, so you can plug in your chargers to charge your batteries. You can run Dremel tools, mini power tools, whatever. But anyway, you set up your pit area on this table, and that's where you wrench on your car between races. So if you got to make adjustments, like if you're out on the track and it's real loose and slippery, and you got to change your tires, put on a different type of tire compound, so that you stick better to the track, you can wrench on your car. I got the pavilion right here, the pagoda, the pavilion we'll call it. Yeah, the enclosed little thing up here. It's right there. It's a short walk from there, over there, this way, to the steps to get to the driver's stand. Yep. There's electricity out there. There's light for nighttime wrenching and for plugging in a cord so that people can have power to their chargers and their tools. Perfect. Perfect. I don't have to build anything except a set of steps to get up to the loft, to the balcony, the driver's stand. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm getting jacked. But 12 scale cars, smaller cars, is going to be way more challenging on this area because I'm not making the driving lane very wide. The driving lane is probably, the track width is probably going to be the width of the scoop on my big snowblower, which is about 40 inches. I might go a little wider. I might go 2 buckets wide. Because in the wintertime, I'm gonna snow blow the track so you can race in the winter. How cool is that? Put studded tires on and red. Oh. Yep. Good times are about to happen. So I'll work on that today. When Scrunch comes up, which will probably be around noon, because she sleeps in, she's going to start working on the Facebook marketplace stuff that I want to sell. So dragging that stuff out, cleaning it up, and taking pictures of it and posting ads up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm going to blow this stuff out at ridiculously. I'm not going to try to make money off of this. I just want it gone. I got to free up the garage. I got to free up space in the garage. So I'm going to blow shit out at ridiculous prices. I got a refrigerated water cooler in there that takes those 5-gallon jugs of water, blue jugs on top. It's refrigerated. $20. It works. Come get it out of here. $20. Shit like that. The washing machine and dryer, $600 for the pair. I got 5 original stock wheels for my Jeep. $25 a wheel. Get it out of here. It's blowout. I want it gone. Yep. So she's gonna work on that today and tomorrow after church. And meanwhile, I'll be relocating the fish crib, and working on what I said. So it's gonna be an exciting weekend. Kate and Rob. All right, so yesterday and the day before, Rob was done. Pulling the trigger. I'm done. I'm going to go get the divorce. Because Kate has done 3 things that have proved that she's not trying to put in any effort. She's not trying to fix this marriage. What Kate is doing is, in my opinion, I don't know for sure, purely AST, she is dragging this out until she can get all her ducks in a row as far as getting the house exclusively in her name. So the first thing that I remember now, the three things. The first thing she did was when Rob had a good weekend last weekend, um, he actually knocked boots with her. So he thought things were on the up and up. She was trying, right? Nope. When he told her, well, I'm going to have my name on the refinance on the house then, she said, no, I'm doing it all in my name. There's number one. The first sin. He's like, oh, she's not planning on fixing anything. She's just going for a power grab and trying to get the house all for herself so that she has control over him. Something happens down the road, she can say, it's my house, get out of here. So he's like, that pissed him off. Because he was willing to get on the refinance, to refinance the house with her as his wife. So they could afford it. So that was the first sin. The second sin was she still has her status on Facebook as separated. She told Rob he could date. No. Just because you've determined in your mind that you're separated, you're not legally separated by the courts. You just decided this is my status this month. I'm separated. Doesn't mean you can date. You'll still be cheating if you're dating. If you're talking to other people behind your partner's back, you're cheating. Kate told Rob he could date if he wanted to. So this means she's talking to other people already, trying to line up the next victim, trying to justify her own bad behavior and giving him permission to date. All right? That also shows how much she doesn't love him and doesn't care and doesn't value him. If she's okay up here knowing that he's knocking boots with somebody else. Not cool. So that was the second big sin. The third one was yesterday. There's this app, a tracking app. It's called Life 360. It's pretty cool. You establish a family unit. You invite people to join your family circle on this app. And this app will track you, where you're going, how long you've been there, etc., etc. If your intentions are wholesome in using this app, it's a great tool to monitor your kids, monitor your elderly parents, your spouse, to see for accidents, because it has accident alert feature on it. So if you're driving in your car and all of a sudden you hit a stop truck in front of you, you come to a sudden stop, the app recognizes that and it automatically sends out a crash alert to all the people in your family circle that you were in an accident. And it'll give you the GPS coordinates of where that accident took place, and you can get there. Otherwise, if you didn't have this app and you got in an accident, your significant other would not know anything about it, that you had an accident, until you were at the hospital and some hospital personnel rifled through your stuff, your purse, your wallet, whatever, and hopefully you had a card in there in case of emergency contact, and then they called you and said your husband's been in a car accident. By then, you're already at the hospital, and that takes some time. And you could be dead. You could be in intensive care or whatever. This crash alert feature allows you to literally go to the crash site and get there, in some cases, depending on how close you are to the site, before the emergency personnel get there. Now, do you want to drive up on that No, not necessarily. But if it's your partner's last moments on this earth, at least you'll be there with them. And then you could, if they're, and I'm getting into a rabbit hole, a morbid rabbit hole, but you know what I'm saying? So the app is wonderful for that. But it can also be used to track the whereabouts of your cheating spouse, which is why Kate is doing what she's doing. I believe. And others believe. Mysteriously, Life 360 no longer works on Kate's phone. It's working on everybody else's phone in the family circle. Her mom, her kids, etc., etc. It's working on all their phones. But it stopped working on Kate's. And Rob verified this because he saw it. Now, the solution is easy. Because it happened to me back in the day when I was on it with the Diva. You uninstall the app and reinstall it. And if you're the administrator of the family circle, you just re-invite everybody to join the family circle. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it solves the problem. Kate will not offload and reinstall the app. That's number one. Number two, yesterday, Rob, because he was pissed off because she was saying some shit, poking the bear, testing him, he turned off his tracking on his 360. Yep, he turned it off so she couldn't see where he was. So what did Kate do? She's the administrator of the program. She uninstalled him out of the family. She kicked him out of the family circle. Kicked him off. Yep. So now nobody can see him. Yeah. So that was the second big mistake. If he's not in the family circle, now he can't see where she is, the daughter, anybody. Yeah. So that was the third sin. So she's doing these major, big moves that are clear signs to Rob, or they should be, that she's not wanting to fix this. She's not putting any effort into fixing this. She's gradually phasing him out of the picture. So yesterday, Rob was all pissed. He says, "That's it. Saturday, I'm going and I'm opening up a separate checking account. I'm contacting my HR department. I'm having my direct deposit of my paycheck go into that new account, not into the joint account. I'm looking at apartments over out east. Blah, 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 blah." The same stuff we've been hearing, me and Scrutch have been hearing for, now it's months. This has been going on for almost 2 months now. This should have been resolved in maximum 2 weeks. It's trivial. Rob lost his temper, said he wanted a divorce, and took off his ring and threw it. Big effing deal. It's called passion. It's called a fight. It's called, well, whatever. Heat of the battle. You say and do things that you don't really mean. Yeah. So, what the hell? So, that particular instance in Case World is an unforgivable sin, and she's continuing to punish him and continuing to distance herself and fatalize the marriage. Well, here we are on the weekend. I haven't heard jack shit from Rob. He came home yesterday off the road. Earlier he had said, "Yeah, when I get home, I'm going to pack up all my clothes. I'm going to put them in the trailer. I'm going to pack up my shop tools. I'm going to put them in the trailer. I'm going to start getting ready to move. Blah, blah, blah." And he calls me on the phone, and he's talking and shit. He's talking in a quiet voice. I'm like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm sitting here." Like, "How come you're not packing your stuff up?" "Well, I don't know. I was having a good conversation with Kate, and I'm going to see how it goes." So I told him straight up. I said, "Scrunchy, is not going to have any more sympathy for you if you don't start sticking to your convictions. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't be backpedaling. Don't be backing out of it. If you say you're quitting, if you say you're getting an apartment, you're getting a separate account, friggin' do it. So what it comes down to is he's still holding out hope for this marriage. It's not, no. I know Kate better than he does. I've known her longer, and I've been through this with Kate. She dragged out my punishment and my slow execution for, I want to say 3 to 4 months before she finally dropped the hammer, because she had found my replacement and she had been interacting with my replacement behind my back. And that situationship had finally progressed to the point where she could move out of her current situation and go live with him. And when that grand moment took place, then Kenny was no more. Kenny didn't have a chance. Yeah. That's what she's doing to Rob. Phasing him out, phasing somebody else in, I think. Yep. But meanwhile, Puppet Master, she hangs a carrot in front of his face, gives him a little bit of hope. Oh, I think she's trying. And then she'll say something, she'll do something, boom, knock him right down to his knees again. That's it, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, blah, 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 I'm getting an apartment, I'm getting a... And then she'll be nice to him and hold his hand while they're watching a movie. And he's like, there's hope, up, down. Idiot. But I can't say anything too harsh because I was in the exact same boat. I had no idea what this master manipulator was doing to me. I'd never experienced this sort of behavior before. So he hasn't either. He's never seen this side of her. Yep, it's been nothing but yuck good times up until now. So he's going through the same torture but I didn't have anybody to talk to about it, really. Yeah, I did. I had a couple people that I was, but yeah. Oh, man. So the phone's not lighting up because she's actually being nice to him. And she doesn't like confrontation in person. So when she's in your presence, she'll be nice and cordial to you. But then when you're gone, she's a keyboard warrior. That's when she does all her pounding, is with the texting. Yeah. She doesn't have the guts to do it in person. So she's being nice to him right now. They sold their motorhome yesterday. Yeah. So I don't know. All right. Enough of that. So anyway, here, might as well, since it's warm out, I can show you. We'll go out. I'll show you where that crib is sitting. I got the marker buoy right on top of it. Damn, it's nice out here. Look at this lake. Just glass. See the black buoy out in the water? That's where the crib is. Here's my swimming beach, my future swimming beach. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. I want it off the end of the dock. Is it raining right now? I see raindrops. Yeah, I want it off the end of my dock, but it has to go out another 20 to 30 yards because right where it's sitting now, it's in 7-8 feet of water. And I want it in about 12 to 14. I'll show you the new fish finder. Yeah, it's sprinkling. So here's the new fish finder on the boat. Yep. That was such an easy install. Yep. It's too easy. So that's within casting range of scrunch. Easily. Yeah. Yep. But I want it out here where we can both get at it. And I want it in deeper water. So if I can snag it with the big anchor on the boat and drag it with the boat. Scrunch needs to clean my boat. Look at that mess. I'll reposition the crib and then I'll drop those 2 other trees either next to it or hopefully in it. We'll see. But anyway, all right, that's enough. Here's where the track's gonna be, man. So there's the driver's stand up there. All I gotta do is build a set of steps off the end there to get up there. And this track is gonna come along here. It's gonna whip around here. It's gonna come this way. It's gonna snake between these trees. It's gonna turn around here. It's gonna come back this way over all these roots. That'll be a challenge. Come over here, loop around here, zigzag back and forth here, go down diagonally this way, come around this big tree here. This is just how I'm envisioning it. Ooh, we got a squirrel here. It's gonna come around here. It's gonna come this tree here. You can either go to the left of the tree or you can go to the right of the tree between the boat. Come around the back of the planter. Hard left turn, snake along here, come around here by the fire pit, shoot up that hill and back around. It's gonna be cool. Yep, gonna be cool. All right, talk to you later.